What? What is up, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to Sixers Post Game Live. Sixers get a huge W tonight against the Los Angeles Lakers. We are breaking it down 105-87. What a fun, entertaining game. Lots and lots to talk about. To help me break it down, my man Tiago at TScappy on Twitter. What's up, Tiago?
What's going on, Chris? First of all, welcome back from COVID.
Thank you.
We're all in it together. Expected a big LeBron showing tonight. We didn't get that, but it's always fun to beat up on the Lakers, no matter who's out there. So good Absolutely. Win for the Sixers.
Really good win. Sixers moved to, I think, 29-19 on the season. Again, no LeBron James, but the story of this game will be Joel Embiid versus Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis had 31 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks. Joel Embiid finished with 26, 9, and 7. Everyone's going to be talking about, Anthony Davis had a hell of a game. And by the way, this was just a fun game to watch when you have two premier elite big men going back and forth. That was like the majority of the first quarter, man. It was fun, man. It was just like back and forth. Every single offensive possession, those two were going at it. But I'm going to throw it to you, man. Who won the battle of the bigs tonight? Was it Anthony Davis or was it Joel Embiid? Because I will say, even though Anthony Davis had the stats, the points and the rebounds and all that kind of stuff, Joel Embiid was double teamed, and triple teamed all freaking game. And there's a reason why the Sixers crushed the Lakers with open layups. They crushed the Lakers with wide open three-pointers. There's a reason for that. What's your take, man?
Yeah, I mean, if you're just going to look at like straight up scoring, right, it's a no-brainer. I thought Anthony Davis came out to play. And there's a little bit of a slander on Anthony Davis in terms of the player that he is. I think he's a phenomenal player, man. There's a reason why the Lakers won the championship in the bubble. The guy was a major reason why. He's a tough matchup for Joel. He's flat out quickness. You see Joel struggle to take him off the dribble. He doesn't have the same type of ability to do so because of AD's quickness and agility. AD moves extremely well off the ball offensively. He's able to hit a bunch of tough shots around the rim. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at the full picture, Embiid still was able to establish himself as an offensive floor and a force. And I don't know if you have even the shot chart from Embiid or not, but
I got it.
Yeah, he overpowered India multiple possessions down low, and you will be able to see that on shot chart because around the rim he was unstoppable. So on the few occasions where I think the Sixers got early in their offense, Embiid got deep post position, deep in the paint, you could see AD really struggle with Embiid's size and strength down low. And you see it right there, right around the rim. There's a whole lot of green around the rim. But like we saw for most of the game, outside of around the paint, outside of the rim, around the paint area and mid-range area, like Joel just struggled with his shot tonight. And that's one of the reasons why he was not able to get his scoring up to what he usually is, as well as most of the free throw misses. I think that for the most part, Joel was battling with something this tonight. And you hear that noise, Chris? I like that.
Yeah, we now have audio with our podcast, so
that's sweet.
We got some background music going down.
And I just think it may be time to give Joel a breather because coming up against Sacramento, man, that game should be a no-brainer. You just feel him struggling physically tonight to get it into this game. So, but overall, just a phenomenal effort, I think, from the Sixers, especially offensively. I thought they really did a great job offensively tonight.
Yeah, where I was really impressed with Joel Embiid tonight, and you might touch on it, is that chemistry with Matisse Tybel. I thought his passing, some of those passes he had tonight, to that backdoor cuts, especially to Matisse Tybel, were absolutely terrific, man. He has improved over and over and over again. Just like, the national media is going to say Anthony Davis dominated Joel Embiid in a 20-point Sixers win. That's not the case here. There's little elements of Joel Embiid's game that I have been so impressed with this season, and that's one of them, man. There was a couple one of the backdoor cuts from Joel Embiid to Matisse Tybel was absolutely terrific. It was a touch pass, absolutely gorgeous. The other area we need to talk about, I think, is your take on Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris had a solid game here, 23 points, 10 of 15 from the field, 3 of 5 from three-point range. He had 4 assists, 2 steals. Tobias Harris has looked more efficient, more decisive with the basketball. He's getting it done within 10 feet like he struggled with in the past. He's thriving in the catch and shoot. His catch and shoot numbers have been astronomical through the month of January compared to the rest of the season. What's your quick take on Tobias Harris tonight and over what we've seen in January?
I just think he's playing stronger. So I think that's one of the main things from what it seems from Tobias Harris is the ability to play through contact. I think that COVID overall kind of set him back from that standpoint. You could really see him struggle through contact, finishing around the rim, finishing around the basket, defending size. So I thought that tonight, for instance, he was defending AD for a lot of the possessions, and you could really see him anchored down defensively on Joel. On AD, and it helped the Sixers, flash help defense towards his way. I thought that for the most part, Tobias continues to make quicker decisions in January, and it's one of the big reasons why I think he's playing better. He's playing more decisively, playing downhill, playing stronger. So, I still have my doubts in terms of where he's getting his shots on the court, but overall, I think it's a good Tobias game and overall a phenomenal effort on his part as well.
Yeah, here's his shot chart. Look at that within the paint there. Love to see that. He looked decisive with the ball in his hands. No hesitation from the perimeter. You got to love that. Absolutely great. And then Kevin says, Anthony Davis won the matchup. This doesn't matter due to how well our role players played tonight, especially Tobias Harris. And please do not rest Joel. I'm going to the game on Saturday. I do not want to see that. That's great.
I think it's going to happen, man. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
it should happen, I'll be honest.
He looked tired. Tonight for sure. Yeah. There was a part where I thought like he tweaked his knee a little bit too. I was surprised that Anthony Davis was going to the locker room, not Joel, because Joel was there was a really awkward fall there on a turnover, and Joel Embiid fell. It was just a weird play. Quentin Moore says, "Welcome back to Tobias Harris," and that, like you said, Tiago, in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how much it matters, but Joel Embiid is getting help, more efficient offensive support, and that Tobias Harris has done that. He's definitely done that. And I'm not saying like keep Tobias Harris, we're going to win a championship. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but it is what it is. We have dogged Tobias Harris pretty much throughout this entire season.
Yeah, I mean, you dog him, but we all dogged him, but we got to be honest with the assessment. I think that, when he's playing this well, he's a borderline all-star player. Again, I'm not saying he's an all-star player, but, you see reasons why the Sixers like him.
Yeah.
Offensively, there's a lot to like, especially playing off the ball, cutting, playing off the pick and roll. I think those are the things that the Sixers like about him. You see a lot of that in his game offensively. So we got to call like it is. And I thought defensive, for the most part, he's been struggling for most of the year. But he didn't struggle tonight. Again, he defended up position on AD. That's critical. That kept Joel off the ball a little bit, hedging with double teams, keeping him near the rim. So all those things helped the Sixers hold the Lakers to something like 87 points. So, we got to call like it is, man. There's a lot of Tobias hate out there.
Yes.
Warranted. But when he plays this well, he deserves credit. And he played this well for the most part last year, and he's doing so again in January again. So props to him, man. He's had to overcome a lot this year, so it's good to see him bounce back.
Yeah, 2021 regular season Tobias seems to be steadily coming back here. We have a comment. I disagree. Joel didn't shoot great tonight, but he was a lot better getting his team involved. We exactly agree on that. No question. Staying aggressive, getting the free throw line. That was the mindset. No question. For going back to Tobias Harris, you look at his decision-making in January, 4% less shots taken with 7 seconds or less on the shot clock. That was kind of like the joke of the Sixers. It was like Tobias Harris versus the shot clock, a battle of the ages. He's done a much better job here. 63.4 effective field goal percentage with 1 dribble or less over the last 12 games in January. And his touching the ball with 6 seconds or more has decreased from 15.7% to 12.4%. So I don't know if that's Doc. I don't know if that's Tobias Harris getting healthy. I don't know if that's, him just finding rhythm within this offense. It is definitely starting to get a little bit better, which is absolutely. Oh yeah, he's definitely getting into a better rhythm.
Just one more point on that, because one of the things I'm noticing the Sixers, first of all, the pace is a little bit up from what was earlier in the year. It's not still where I think it should be. The Sixers still like a bottom tier pace team, but they're not like dead last in pace, which they were early in the year. So the pace is a little bit up, and the Sixers are doing a better job of getting themselves early in the shot clock offensively. So within that 15 to 18 second range, where teams are still trying to figure out where to position themselves defensively, that's where you're seeing guys like Embiid and Tobias assert themselves deep in the paint, and they're getting a ton of easy looks off that. So the way that the Sixers are just speeding up their offense has been critical for them to get better offense, specifically Tobias. Because like you said, Chris, like when the ball sits for extended amount of minutes or seconds, it's a problem. Like Tobias doesn't create for himself, doesn't create for others. It usually ends up in a turnover or a contested mid-range shot, which is something that kind of plagued them for most of the first part of the year.
All right, next up, we got to talk about Matisse Tybel. I thought that was a major impact performance we saw from Tybel tonight. Tybel played 28 minutes. He had 8 points, multiple back cuts to the rim, which we'd love to see from Matisse Tybel. 4 steals, a block. What was your take on Matisse Tybel tonight? Because you look at, when he gets 30 minutes or more, he only got 28 tonight. But the Sixers win. They're 9-2, and he only got 28 minutes tonight. But that was because it was a blowout win for the Sixers. But there were so many moments in this game where I thought he was dynamic. What was your take on Matisse Tybel?
Yeah, my thing with Tybel has always been defensively. We know what he is. Defensively, he's a bona fide first team, second team All-NBA defender. Offensively, I've always had an issue with Tybel from the standpoint of we have to be able to feel him offensively. So whether it's at the three-point line or scoring near the rim, a lot of times with Tybel, we go through stretches where you're like, is Tybel even out there offensively?
Yeah.
And what we're seeing with Tybel now is a guy who has made a living playing off those cuts. So I even tweeted like during the game, he's averaging 1.7 points per cut, which is the 99th percentile in the NBA. So pretty much at the near top of the NBA. And you're seeing that athleticism play out, especially with a guy like, for instance, Carmelo. I mean, they had Carmelo out on him on multiple possessions depending on the perimeter. That is an easy backdoor cut. When they overplayed Joel in the post, another easy backdoor cut. And give Embiid credit, give Drummond credit for finding him. So overall, the way that the Sixers have him operating off the post, cutting baseline, it's been huge for his offense, man. And you're starting to see games where you're like, wow, Tybel's making an impact offensively at the rim, near the basket. He's shown tremendous balance in finishing through context. So hopefully there's more of that. I still think, you still like to see him hit a couple of three-pointers. It didn't happen tonight, but I think overall, this is like the ideal Tybel game, right? 4 steals, makes his impact defensively, makes his impact offensively, plays near 30 minutes. So there's not much more I think you can ask from Tease tonight.
What was your take on Russell Westbrook tonight? Because I was watching this dude, and all I can think about is how much it's hard to watch. It's like Muhammad Ali's last days, as a boxer. It is like watching Ryan Howard's last at bats with the Philadelphia Phillies. It has not gone well for Russell Westbrook. Tobias Harris being able to just match up against him, it was not a good look. What is your take on Russell Westbrook right now?
I mean, he would still be probably the Sixers' second best point guard on the team.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but
Let me be honest. Like, as much as I praise Tobias Harris, he still can't make a goddamn entry pass to Joel Embiid to save his life.
That's a whole different thing. I mean, he's got to come to grips with his career. I mean, you're not the player you were 10 years ago, and you got to figure out ways to contribute offensively on this team that requires you playing off the ball. I mean, you got two bona fide dominant players on the ball. You got LeBron and you got AD. But I think Russ still feels like he needs to get his points, do his thing offensively. And it's going to kill them because they don't necessarily need that within this offense. You know, doing things like setting screens for LeBron, things like that, those are the things that they should be focusing on with Russ more and more and more. But Westbrook does not seem to embrace that game at all. And on top of that, I still think he keeps guys like Malik Monk on the bench for way too long. Like, I'm not saying Malik Monk is a great talent by any stretch of imagination, but I would be testing more and more guys off the bench from the Lakers because I think there's potential there with a guy like Taylor Horton Tucker, that's a full name,
Yeah.
and Malik Monk, things like that. So, I mean, they got to figure that out, but I still think, man, like if the money wasn't an issue, I would still take him on my team because his ability to pressure the paint is still at a very high level. You see when guys like Maxey try to defend him, it was kind of a no match. So, yeah.
And I thought the bench was a huge component of tonight's win. You look at George Niang, you look at Danny Green, 7 of 13 from three, those two combined. That's more than the Lakers had combined in this game. I was really impressed with the Sixers bench. They hit shots. A big component of that was, the double teams, the triple teams, finding George Niang at the top of the key in his sweet spot. They did a really good job of finding the open guy. I think Danny Green had back-to-back threes at one point in this game. George Niang did the same. Quick takes on Danny Green and George Niang off the bench. And is this what we should expect Danny Green off the bench moving forward?
Hopefully not, man. I'll be honest. I think that they need Danny Green in the starting lineup. There's a lot of reasons why Danny Green should be starting when he's healthy, obviously. And I think there's an argument to be made for Maxey to be moved to the bench, not because of his play, but from the fact that they need more shot creation from that second unit. So when you get guys like, in that second unit, you got Korkmaz running the show, like that's not going to get you anywhere. There's more evidence to suggest that Danny Green and Tease playing together is a very good combo, especially defensively, where the Sixers need help in the perimeter. And I think you can move Maxey on to the second unit, still give him the 25 to 30 minutes a game, and have him create off that second unit, which is going to be something they're going to need in the postseason, especially if Doc wants to continue to play those all-bench units, which we all know what the outcome eventually is. But, I do think that getting Danny Green back healthy is critical, and I think eventually they'll kind of figure himself back into the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. And that's Doc's decision. It's just good to see him back out there. It feels like Danny Green hasn't really played at all this year. He's kind of just played stretches and gotten hurt and played a little bit of stretch and got hurt again. So it was good to see him hit some shots tonight.
Absolutely. We have a comment from Gene. Who would have thought that the ball in Embiid's hands would produce more assists to a cutting Tybel than Ben Simmons? That's been kind of the big takeaway here. I'm not going to talk about Ben Simmons, but you've definitely seen chemistry building between Embiid and Matisse Tybel over the last month or so. Tybel, when he's not a nothing offensively, like we saw in the first quarter, it's hard to watch when Tybel gives you nothing offensively and the team is struggling. It's tough to watch, but when he can give you that cutting to the basket when Embiid, there's definitely a better feel for those two on the court, as we have seen. Let's go to this comment. Does Maxey create? And Maxey had, I thought, an impressive game. He had 14, 10, and 7 in this game, 2 blocks. He struggled with his shot, 5 of 14 from the floor. But these are the kind of games that, even though he's struggling with his shot, he's still getting others involved. Is he like a Chris Paul or is he going to be a Ben Simmons, like a playmaker with the ball in his hands? No. But I thought Maxey had a fine game. What was your take on Tyrese Maxey tonight?
I think Maxey creates when you allow him to create. I mean, he's not by any stretch of the imagination like an elite point guard. But when you put the ball in his hands and you allow him to work, especially in the pick and roll, he's shown the ability to do that. I mean, he's connected on Drummond, Joel multiple times tonight. He's mastered that live dribble lob pass onto the rim where Embiid or Drummond just catch and dunk it. He's done that very well this year, especially late. Without Curry, he's showed a little bit more of creation, and he's shown the ability to do that, attract the defense off the dribble, find Joel, do those things. So, yes, to answer the question, I do think Maxey creates, but the question is, does the coach see the same thing? Because he seems to be enamored with guys like Korkmaz operating the pick and roll, and I'm not sure that is a path to success. So the way that I see it is eventually is having Maxey orchestrating that second unit coming off the bench. But, again, these are not my decisions. These are coaching decisions. But to answer the question, yes, I do think that Maxey can be a creator in multiple lineups. So.
Yeah, around 7 assists a game over the last 4 games for Tyrese Maxey. That's pretty great considering our expectations coming in for Maxey and how he has blown away our expectations with his.
And he doesn't turn the ball over, Chris. It's important. Like he does not turn the ball over to high volume. That is one of the big reasons why the Sixers offense has stayed afloat for most of the year, because they're not a particularly great shooting team. So his ability to protect the basketball has been huge. I would love to see him get out in transition. I mean, that is something that it drives me absolutely crazy, is how the Sixers love to slow down and get into their offense. And to me, Maxey should be one of the top transition players in the NBA, just in the sheer speed aspect of it. Get downhill, finishing at the rim.
Yep. The floor is yours. Says, I think when healthy, we can compete, but we need a player like Eric Gordon to help us take us there. Did you see Charles Barkley's comment about how even if the Sixers are the number 1 seed, it doesn't matter until the Sixers make a move for Ben Simmons and add, talent to his roster? Any quick takes on that, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ben Simmons move and the Eric Gordon move are separate things. So I still think you can perhaps give it a first-round pick, right, and get an Eric Gordon and see where that takes you. I think that the Sixers want to keep all their assets in their back pocket to make that big swing. So they don't want to just burn a first-round pick on Eric Gordon. Maybe you win a series, but it still doesn't take you to the championship. So I agree. Eric Gordon can be a great help to this team. I'm not disagreeing with that. So, but to answer your question about Charles Barkley, yeah, I mean, there's no question. I mean, you have your second best player not playing. He's not on the floor. He's eating up your cap money. That's a huge problem. So I don't see the Sixers at the same level as Brooklyn, Miami, and Milwaukee. But that's not to say that this season cannot be a success. I mean, what we're seeing from Joel Embiid, we're seeing from Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Tybel, these are the things that you can build upon into a championship core. So, the fact that the Sixers may not win a championship this year should not be this outcry for massive changes. And, when the Sixers have to be very careful about the Ben Simmons situation, because they blow this trade, there's no other star to trade. So you can't just take the first package that's available. Like Maurice said this in the radio, like, I'm not going to take anything for Ben Simmons. I'm going to take a player that's going to make a significant impact on our ability to be a top 3 team in the NBA. I mean, he said those words exactly. Any trade that doesn't put us in the top 3 of win chances in the NBA, of title chances, I'm not going to do it. And he's right. I mean, all the packages have been floating around with, De'Aaron Fox or some Indiana package or some another package. These are nice packages, but they do not move the needle. And the Sixers cannot afford to waste Ben Simmons and not move the needle. That will set this franchise back and Joel Embiid back for multiple years and perhaps the entirety of Embiid's career. So, tough situation to be in, but they got to be smart about it. And no matter how much Charles Barkley cries about it, like, I'm sorry, man, you're not the GM. You're just a talking head.
Yeah, and Morey has crushed it. He has absolutely crushed it. If you've been watching our shows, we've been talking about James Harden for quite some time. But let's go into player of the game, man. Who is your Sixers player of the game tonight? I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I'll go with Matisse.
Yeah.
For him coming back, being impactful on both ends of the court was a huge plus. You see how much better defensively they are. They hold the Lakers to 87 points. He's a big part of that. On the perimeter, man, he makes a huge impact. So I'll give him the player of the game tonight.
Tobias Harris for me, 13 of 19 previous game, 10 of 15 this game. I don't know how much it means to like winning a championship, but it does mean something to giving some help to Joel Embiid. Tobias Harris is starting to find his rhythm within this offense. I like the way he's shooting from three. He was 3 of 3 against the Pelicans. He was 3 of 5 tonight. I think there is something to be said about that. So for me, Tobias Harris, man, and a big part of that is because I've been on his ass. I've been on his ass for 3 months, and I haven't had a lot of opportunity to like kind of give him props when he deserves it. So for me, it is Tobias Harris. He had a really efficient game again, back-to-back efficient games. And overall, his January has been very strong. And you're probably not going to find a lot of Sixers fans that say that, but he has been very solid. Quentin says the fans that got kicked out, player of the game, the fans. What do we know what happened with that? I don't really know. It seemed like it's just a lot of words. What was your take?
My take is Carmelo's been in the league for a very long time, and he probably heard a lot of things. For him to get up and point at the fan to get out, I can imagine it was something that was very nice.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, man, I will always take the player sides. Always. I always play I mean, just because you have a Sixers T-shirt on, you sit courtside, doesn't give you the right to abuse anybody. Period. So I will always take the player sides, man. Always.
I agree.
Definitely not giving a player of the game for anything.
No, definitely not. Fully agree. All right, man. How would you grade tonight's performance?
Hey, man. Hey, no question. Even though no LeBron, you still get AD. So they put on a great effort tonight, no question.
Yeah, I'm an A. This was a great win. Just from an entertainment standpoint, I absolutely loved watching Anthony Davis go up against Joel Embiid. That back and forth was a ton of fun. It brought me back to like the 90s of like the big men going back and forth against each other. It was so much fun. I loved it. And then you had Tobias Harris versus Russell Westbrook going against each other for the worst contract in basketball. That was also a lot of fun. There was so many like little. Then you had Joel Embiid going up against and dominating Dwight Howard. That was also a lot of fun.
Against Howard, which was nice.
There are a lot of subplots. Then you had Russell Westbrook versus the fans. That Russell Westbrook, was trying to put on a show because of his history with Sixers fans. It was just an overall great win, entertaining win, strong A for me, man. Let's wrap it up. Where can we find you, bro?
Find me at Skype on Twitter. Always tweeting about the Sixers. So anything you guys would check. Also, not only about the Sixers, but college basketball prospects. I love college. We keep an eye on those guys very closely. A lot of those guys have played for the Sixers, have been drafted by the Sixers. So we usually are pretty spot on with our assessment. So I'll keep a lookout for that.
For me, I'm up to number 4 mock draft for the Philadelphia Eagles. So much fun. We do live mock draft simulators for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then we do like dueling mocks. My buddy and I, we compare and contrast who has the best Eagles mock. I've got linebacker rankings. I've got edge rusher rankings, and I've got cornerback rankings, and I have my wide receiver rankings, my top 10 rankings for the 2022 NFL draft dropping in the near future. So that's all out there. So
Dots going to be on that wide receiver ranking, man. I'm a Penn State fan. I know the
guy.
Yeah, he's good, man.
He's good, man, but I don't know if I would take him like they're it's deep. It's really deep. he's going to have a tough time. He's going to have a tough time going up some of those other, big time route runners. I don't see him going in the first. Absolutely not. No way. There's arguably some better prospects there in that second, like Treylon Burks, Chris Olave, Skylar Moore, I think his name is. I think Johan Johnson is going to find issues with there's a lot of 5'10", 5'11", really good route running kind of guys, like quick route running guys that are just like him. So he's going to have to beat out a lot of people, especially in this combine, is what I see.
That's college football, man.
Yeah. No, he's terrific. He had a great season, man. Great season. No question about it. But anyway, tons of NFL draft content coming. I will be all in on the NBA draft in time. In time. Just not yet. But follow my man Tiago on Twitter at @tscabbia. I am Dives, Mr. Crackbot. For Tiago, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.